These two are great friends. The last time we saw them,
Gentlemen, I'll collect the
Thorpe and Woodward were teammates
and have a great
for the
match,
USA
guys.
in the World Cup.
And
Now, though,
gentlemen,
they go
you
head
may
to head.
lag for break.
And their respective home states share a border, Ohio and Kentucky. These two share a good friendship, but tonight it's
Thorpe wins
every
lag.
man for himself. Skyler Woodward is the more experienced of the two players, although Thorpe is, I suppose, catching up in many respects. He's from Dayton, Ohio, the hometown of the great 400-metre hurdler Edwin Moses, who once won 122 consecutive races. All Billy needs to win 5 races here, and he's going to be champion. But Skyler Woodward more than capable of coming out on top in this, the battle of the mullets.
Rack number 1, Mr. Thorpe, to break.
Billy the Torpedo Thorpe breaking off in the first rack. And that looks to be like a nice start to this match for Billy. A clear shot at the 1 ball here.
Yeah, we've seen a smattering of dry breaks, but generally I think the table is playing quite friendly when it comes to the break-off. Lots of check side there tells us that the blue 2 flies past the brown 7.
Yeah, he's landed a little bit straight in there. He forced a little bit of angle, but you could see how straight that shot was. But he would like to have left a more angle on the pink 4 ball to get on the purple 5 ball. But he is known for being a great banker in this game. Well, he did go for the bank, but he completely mishit that shot.
Well, that was a surprise, both in terms of selection and execution. Skyler Woodward just coming in to mop up the mess. And immediately, Alison, discovering that you can't pinch these pockets.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, weren't we, Phil, with the pockets being 4 inches. And it's really shown up with some players, isn't it? You could just see he caught that right knuckle of the pocket there. Hit it a little bit too thin. Nice start for Billy, though.
Thorpe did make 1 error in that opening rack, but he didn't miss a ball. And the man from Ohio into the man from Kentucky, 1-0.
It really was a tough draw, drawing each other in the first round of this tournament, having come this far.
Originally, he wasn't in this 24-player field, but when we had a withdrawal, it was decided quite correctly, in my view, that Thorpe had got the best credentials to be a replacement, so in he came. He is 4 years the junior of his opponent this evening, Skyler Woodward, who was a semi-finalist the last time he was here in 2019. Twice he's been on winning Mosconi Cup teams. On one occasion, he was an inspired Most Valuable Player, MVP. Although, one has to say, when these two joined forces to play in the World Cup a couple of weeks back, or a week or so back, they did not play anywhere near optimum levels. In fact, despite building a 5-2 lead over the Philippines, they were eventually beaten 7-5, towards the end making lots and lots of blunders.
Yeah,
Rack
that was a
number two,
rough
our
match
current
because
score is
5-0
1-0
up
in favor
and
of Mr.
losing
Thorpe.
was a
Mr. Thorpe.
tough pill to swallow. And another nice break there from Billy. He's looking very relaxed out there, isn't he, Phil?
He most certainly is. I don't think he's one of those players, don't think he's one of those people who would be easily intimidated. And that's a touch of class. Ideally wouldn't have liked the one ball quite as close to the pocket as it is, but look at the hook. And talking of class, there is the leading American player, Shane Van Boning.
Yeah, I noticed him in the practice room earlier watching the matches. He's checking out how the table's playing and mentally preparing for his own match.
Easily made the jump, consequently made the pot. The only problem was position on the two.
Oh, that was a beautifully executed shot there. Lots of backspin, controlling that cue ball, holding it there behind that green 6 ball. Billy's got to negotiate that gap between the 7 and the 5 ball now. Nice shot. But he's left Sky a chance here. That was a nicely played shot there. A little bit of left hand spin on the ball to open the angle up for the 7 in the corner. I have a feeling we're going to be in for quite a tight match here tonight.
I would certainly concur with that, Alison. We've had 2 7-3s and a 7-4 so far. If this went all the way, I don't think anyone would be surprised. The first 2 racks have been shared. So, Alison, my question to you is, of the two, who do you think is the most likely winner?
I would think Skyler. To be honest, I think a little bit more experience than Billy. Great player, been around a long time, even though he's not that old in 4 years. I remember him as a little kid though, playing in Vegas. He was probably about 8 years old on the bar table, challenging anyone who would play him. So he's very, very experienced, been playing for many, many years.
Yes, and of course, both he and Thorpe will be hanging around for the World Pool Championship, which is back in England in Milton
Rack
Keynes
number 3, we are
in
all
early June.
tied at 1 game apiece. Mr. Woodward, to break.
Well, quite a few kisses on the one ball, but in the end it works out perfectly okay.
As we could see that wing ball going in again. The 7 ball. A nice opportunity for Skyler here.
After that disappointing defeat against the Philippines in the World Cup, I was very impressed by the Americans' reaction. They didn't try and make excuses. They fronted up and said, we didn't play well, we made mistakes, it was entirely our own fault. And that's, I think, half the battle. They were realistic and they confronted their failings and set about making sure they don't occur again.
Well, that is the way to learn, and sometimes it's painful, but in those defeats are the best opportunities to learn and accept responsibility and do better next time. Of course, these are short races to 7 here at the Dufferbet World Masters event, but such a prestigious title for all these players.
Well, we had him on close-up as he broke off in this rack. It looked as though Skyler Woodward was shaking a little, but there's no nerves come through during this clearance. He's delightfully dished. So Skyler Woodward, having lost the opening rack,
Players, ladies and
bounced
gentlemen, we
back
have a 2-minute
to
break.
lead 2-1. there was always an intriguing quality to this match between good pals. Skyler Woodward smiling and Billy Thorpe, but I'll tell you what, do not get the wrong impression. They are desperate to win, these two. It is the closing match of the evening. The winners so far, Justin Sage, Eklund Kachi, I thought was very impressive against Petri Mäkinen, and even more impressive in my book was Chris Melling in overcoming Sanyin Perlivanovic.
All right, rack number 4. Current score is 2-1 in favor of Mr. Woodward. Mr. Woodward to break.
The reward for the winner of this nightcap is a meeting tomorrow in the last 16 against the defending champion, David Al-Kaidi.
It's amazing how many times that last roll on that last ball can interfere. That's a very nice shot played there by Skyler. It's always dangerous to roll the ball on a table, just in case. It doesn't feel good sometimes, but he played a nice shot there. And now Billy needs to use the bridge here to try and kick off that back rail. He's played that really nicely too and put Skyler back in trouble. Not sure if he can get to that side rail. If he can, it's an easy kick. These two guys have a lot of table knowledge as well.
Extension, please.
And that's reflected in the fact that Skyler Woodward is a former master of the table at the Derby City Classic. Now that involves 3 divisions: bank, pool, 1 pocket and 9 ball. And to win the whole shebang, you've got to be pretty versatile.
Yeah, it's very impressive. That's a tough tournament. And on the other hand, Billy is a 2 times Derby Classic 1 pocket champion and also a bank champion.
It's a real game for the purist, isn't it? 1 pocket.
Definitely. Or the pocket, the tight pockets really showed up there because he hit that ball down the rail. You could see it made contact quite away from the pocket. And these 4-inch pockets are not forgiving, as they shouldn't be.
The overhead view there, though, graphically illustrated just how tight they are in relation to normal pockets. Played that one nicely, needed a very thin contact, and that's exactly what he achieved.
And not only that, he's left a really nice angle to stun over for the 6 ball into the left corner pocket. Nicely played. The cloth looks very sensitive, doesn't it? He really didn't put a lot of effort into drawing that ball back, but it came flying back.
The only criticism I could possibly have of the table for the World Cup of Pool that we recently covered in Milton Keynes was that some of the cushion bounces were very inconsistent.
Agreed. Yeah, a lot of them were. There was a couple of springy rails out there.
But this table seems to be performing beautifully. And that 9-ball was a thing of beauty also, and it means that Skyler Woodward has won 3 racks in succession to lead Billy Thorpe 3-1.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm here with Chris Melling, a 7-4 win over Sahin Pelihanovic. Chris, very happy.
Yeah, delighted. Obviously, got off to a good start, and then Sanjin came back at me, and got over the line. I potted some good balls, and delighted to get through.
Yeah, it was a good recovery from Sanjin, but you look comfortable on that table out there.
I didn't feel like it inside. I was very nervous, and obviously the pockets are a lot tighter than they normally are. So when you're playing balls with force, you can actually miss them. But lucky for me, they went in.
You made a stunning start. You were so quick. But then he came back. What were you thinking when this is what's unforgiving, the first to 7. You think, oh my God, am I going to get a chance to get up again?
Yeah, that's 9-ball pool, and obviously sometimes you don't get a shot, and people at home don't understand that you fly halfway around the world, and you might just sit there in your chair the whole match, and you just got to accept it.
Absolutely. We're going to move it on, talking about your match with Josh Filler soon. But we'll head back to the match just for now.
Thanks, Michael. Always interesting to hear the thoughts of the
Rack
most
number
recent winners
5.
in the tournament.
Our current score is 3-1 in favour
You would
of
never
Mr.
have
Woodward.
thought that Chris
Mr.
would have been
Woodward.
nervous out there, would you, the way
Right.
he played?
It didn't come across to me, but he's the one who was out there.
He just lost that cue ball slightly there. It just went forward. Let's see if he's got a shot on this 1-ball. A good old reliable corner ball there, wing ball. It looks like he's got a shot on the 1 here.
Can't get through to the potting angle, I don't think.
No, looks like he's curving it slightly. That was really nicely done. He used a lot of left-hand spin on that, and that threw the 1-ball to the right. So effectively the spin helped that ball in there.
Yeah, manufactured the pot, and also the side helped with the position on the 2, but that doesn't help the cause.
Well, he's got away with it, but that was a very jabby stroke. I felt like the backswing was a little too quick there. Do you see him nodding his head there in agreement?
Well, he got the 9-ball in motion, but it didn't find a pocket.
I love watching the eyes of the players dart around the table when they're doing their visualisation of where they want the balls to end up.
Attention, please.
Alison, it's quite clear these two have got a very good relationship. You've obviously played friends over the years. What's the secret to maximum concentration and maximum resolve?
Well, I think, the table is business end of a relationship, isn't it? I mean, that's like going to the office and you put your friendships aside. You want to play in, obviously, a sportsmanlike way, but at the end of the day, it's your living, and you have to be able to put the friendship aside for that moment of time.
Well, already 3-1 down. Thorpe needs to make the most of this.
That was very lazy. Tried to force the pink 4 ball across for the 5 ball. And he must have just taken his eye off the ball there. Always make the shot. Never miss an easy shot.
Along with the 5 ball missed by Chris Milling in the match before this, that's perhaps the easiest pot we've seen go astray all evening. No complaints from Skyler Woodward though.
I'm sure Skyler's son Dax will be cheering him on.
Dax, I like that.
Yeah, it's a good name. It's Daxton, but Dax for short.
Skyler Woodward knows that it should be 3-2, but because of Billy Thorpe's unusual error, it is 4-1, and that means Woodward is more than halfway to victory.
You don't often see two
Friends
players discuss.
off the table, but rivals for now, Chris Manning. Chris, what's it like to play a close friend on the circuit?
It's difficult, obviously. I travel the world with Jason and stay at his house when I'm over in America. But when you play your friends out there, I mean, I treat them as my enemies. You know, I want to beat them hard. And
You're such a nice guy, though.
Yeah, but not out there. I'm not. I just want to beat everybody that I play, and you know, it's my job at the end of the day.
You're right, and let's be honest. There's a lot of money involved. You know, Paul is back with a bang. They need to get on with their lives. This is their livelihoods, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously there's only a few events at the minute, which obviously Matchroom are putting most of the events on. So we've got to thank them really, because without them we'd all be struggling.
How nice is it that you've won and now you can relax watching it? You're sitting with me now. It's like all the pressure gone at the moment.
Yeah, obviously I've had a few messages since I won my match, so replying to most of them and just watching the rest of the guys struggle.
Yeah, well, you certainly deserve to have a relax. You were fantastic earlier today. Back to the match.
Thanks, Michael. You know, Stephen Hendry, the 7-times world snooker champion, had the
Number
perfect
6.
solution
Our current
for
score
when you
is
played
4-1
a friend. He said, well,
favor
don't
of
make
Mr.
it in the
Woodward.
first place.
Mr. Woodward to break.
I don't think he did have any friends. I think he's got more now that he's semi-retired, I would say. He's making his comeback, of course. But he'd been retired for 12 years or so, I think.
Yes, he takes it as a personal affront when he sees players at the table being too pally when they're playing each other.
A nice safety shot play, but it's an easy hit for Billy. Probably going to go 2 rails here. Let's see what he's eyeing up. I went direct. That was a nice shot. Played thin off the 2 ball. And it's a lovely art, the art of kicking, when you see it done very well.
As a collective, I think the greatest exponents would be the Filipinos.
Definitely. The great Efren Reyes leading the way. Looks like he's going for the jump cue here, because kicking the ball, it would be very difficult to get a safety shot out of it. If you've got a 50-50 shot, I always think it's
Attention,
best to
please.
be aggressive. So he might try a jump bank here, knowing that the cue ball is going to travel down table. Oh, very close. It's definitely what he played there. So close.
Yeah, the jump bank, it sounds so complex, but he almost pulled it
Attention,
off.
please.
Well, it's an essential part of the game to do well. Very much enjoy watching a good jump shot and playing them myself. It's definitely a skill set.
He did not want the bump of the middle pocket intervening there.
Yeah, you can see there, he just got a little too much right-hand spin on the ball there. Really got a hold of it. Gonna try and send a 3 down table here. Just didn't catch it the way he wanted though.
Thorpe simply has to start firing.
Excuse me. Thank you.
The noise that kept Thorpe away from the table for a few seconds was poor old John Lehman, our referee, sneezing. He did apologise.
There goes Billy, what he's famous for. Banking Billy.
There's John. With that nasal interruption. Of course, he's sporting a mullet as well. We've heard of the 3 tenors. These are the 3 mullets.
Nice shot played there. A little close to the side pocket. Put a lot of left-hand spin on that ball. Didn't want to be quite as straight as he is because he's going to be close to the rail when he shoots a 9 ball. And these rails on these Rasson tables are quite high. Oh, we got corner hooked. That's unbelievable. That is a worst case scenario right there.
Snookered not by a ball, but by the table itself.
That ball just do. So what that ball just do? Oh, what that ball.
Not sure what he was mumbling there, but not a bad outcome.
Well, it clipped in, and although he had to take the cue ball all around the houses, it's surely going to be 5-1. Hooked by the jaws of the side pocket, Billy Thorpe. Summing up his evening so far, Skyler Woodward now leads 5-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a 2-minute break.
sometimes you get the nagging feeling it's not going to be your day. That was the case for Billy Thorpe, who snookered himself behind the jaws of a middle pocket. He did leave the 8 ball, and then the 9 was pretty much a given. It means that Skyler Woodward, well, everything is going his way. He is 2 racks from victory. Chris Melling, Eklund Kachi and Justin Sayage, representing Britain, Albania and Australia respectively, are already through.
And that was a tough roll for Billy there, but he did put a little bit too much spin on the 7 ball to land there, but nevertheless, we've all done that in our life. Corner hooked.
All right, we are back. Our current score is 5-1. We are in rack number 7. Mr. Woodward, to break. We have a foul.
Now that's just what Thorpe would have
Clock,
wanted.
please.
A nice, easy introduction, the chance to get the key arm going and to ease the pain of the previous rack.
Yeah, we could see the look of frustration there in
Foul.
Skyler's face.
Yeah, just the faintest of glances took the cue ball into the scratch.
Oh, Billy's got to be very upset with that. He had a great opportunity there to get another rack on the board. Shaking his head, but you know what? He's been playing since he was about 2 to 3 years old. And if you notice, he's a little bit of a side stroker, and I wonder if it comes from starting so young.
Well, too close to his work here, which is the pink 4 ball.
Extension, please.
There you can see the gap exists. Could be in trouble after this, Alison.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Can he roll forward and get that 4 out of the way? Shane Van Bonen behind there looking on. That could have been a one pocket shot there. Look at that. You noticed there, you know what I noticed? He turned his wrist on that shot. Technically, he's not the strongest player with his mechanics out there, and I think that's costing him a lot.
Well, without wishing to be too unkind, he's having a nightmare. Just a little overhit that. Wanted to be tight in behind the 6. Maybe, again, he was put off by the beeps of the shot clock.
He overspun that ball. Got so much spin on it, and it reversed the effect on the object ball there. A lot of right-hand spin. The slower you hit, the more it throws the ball off in the opposite direction, the object ball, and that's what happened there. There's a nicely negotiated shot there from Skyler, avoiding the side pocket.
I'm sure that Woodward is surprised, pleasantly surprised, but surprised nevertheless that his pal is offering such scant resistance. "6-1, and Billy Thorpe is just making one mistake after the next. All players have had bad matches, Alison, and when you are in the middle of one and things are going from bad to worse, what can you tell yourself to turn things around?
Well, I think the most important thing is to stay present. Let go of anything bad that's happened. You're not in control of some of the things. Some people get some good rolls here and there, but you've just got to be able to let it go and stay present. And in this format, we know it's a winner-break format, so anything can happen. We've seen people come back from behind before. It's not impossible. But if you let all these little things affect you and your thinking, you're never going to get over the winning line.
Yeah, 6-1 down to win 7-6. Not impossible. Absolutely not. We had a wonderful recovery in the final of this tournament many years ago from Raj Hundal, who at the time was representing the UK. Now he's representing India in the last few years in the World Cup. He came back against Rodney Morris from an unlikely position in the final. So I'm not discounting completely the possibility that Thorpe can get back into this, but one thing we have to say for sure, he needs to improve markedly.
Rack number 8. Our current score is 6-1 in favor of Mr. Woodward. Mr. Woodward to break on the hill.
We see that wing ball going again, and look at that, the way the balls have spread. It's not looking good for Billy at this point.
By the way, I was mentioning Raj Hundal's come back against Rodney Morris. That was 16 years ago. Time flies.
It certainly does. I can imagine that match didn't last long either, because they're both great shot makers, aren't they?
Oh, he's overdone that. He's vocally annoyed.
You know, sometimes that little bit of extra weight, you notice he put an extension on the back of his cue, and it's a little bit easier to manoeuvre the ball, and I think that's why he overhit that one there. That was a beautiful recovery shot there, using 3 rails, 4 rails. Lots of left-hand spin on the cue ball.
And that's the visualisation you see at the very highest level. Just knew the shot. And now, poor old Billy Thorpe is staring at a very swift exit.
Ooh, that wrapped its feet in the pocket there.
At 1-1, both Alison and I were perhaps predicting Hill. We could not have been further from the truth. After that, Skyler Woodward won 6 consecutive racks. Billy Thorpe had a poor match, one has to say that. Woodward, though, will be delighted to win so comprehensively and set up a second round meeting with the title holder from Spain, David Alcaide.